Good evening, everybody. It is the Archer Football Podcast College Edition again tonight. We are so glad to be bringing you our coverage of college football. We talked about this for the longest time. College feeds into the NFL. Let's talk about it more. So here we are, and we are back. So, ladies, we have Michelle with us. Okay, y'all, I will never get this right.
I'm
We have
here.
Kate with us as well. We have me, Sonia. So nice to see everybody. Michelle, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good considering we lost a legend, and I'm a big Jackson fan, and Tito died, and I've been sad, but I'm doing pretty good now. I've got
Okay, good. I was just listening to some Jackson 5 the other day. I was like,
see.
just, yeah, I know. Okay, but we're going to keep it up and up. Kate, welcome back from vacation.
It's
How
good to be
was it?
back. It's funny. It was a fabulous vacation. Ran into massive travel issues trying to get home. Our flight was supposed to leave to go to Miami at 3 o'clock. It didn't leave till 10:15 p.m. On the bright side, in the bar at the airport, they were playing the um,
Oregon
Oregon
State
State
game?
Oregon
game.
State.
So I watched all but the last couple minutes, and apparently the second half, when they shut the bar down, everyone was like, this is when the drinking needs to happen. That second half was brutal. If you're a fan of the Beavers, that second half was brutal. But I got to watch most of it. I guess I got the first half at an
Well,
airport
that's good. I was about
in
to say,
Grenada. It was 92 degrees and there was no air conditioning, but we had football. So what are you gonna do?
all
Make
was
the best
well.
of it, right?
Exactly. And oh, by the way, if you guys are watching us on Twitter or on Facebook, head over to our YouTube channel, the same one that we use for our other podcast. And then you can chat with us and we can interact with you. We can say hi. Hi, Kristen. And we can bring your chats on. We can answer questions. We love to do it. So, yeah, Kate started to talk about it. The game of the week that we picked last week was Oregon State. We love a good rivalry game. I think all of us are part of a sweet rivalry in college. So, yeah. What were your thoughts on it? Kate, we got some of yours. Michelle, what'd you think?
Well, it started out pretty good. I mean, we thought it would be a good game. I think Wanda was with us last week, and
Yes.
she picked that game. And you had Oregon, Big 12 rivals or former Pac 12 rivals, and I think Oregon State's still in it, right? By themselves or anyway. So, but yeah, the game it
The
started
other
out pretty
team.
good, and then Oregon flexed their muscles, and you know that Dylan Gabriel went on and did his thing. He scored what, like 4 touchdowns, or however many touchdowns he had. But yeah, it was good in for as long as it could have been. But yeah, I really liked Dylan. I thought he had such a great game. He was very efficient through that game. He missed 4 passes the whole entire game, 20 or 24, close to 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Um, I love it. Great.
Oregon didn't punt.
Yeah,
They
I was.
didn't punt. I
Right.
mean, it was fairly close at halftime.
Mhm.
And I don't know what happened to the Beavers in the second half. I don't know if it was adjustments that the Ducks made, but they didn't score a point in the second half. The Oregon State ran more plays, they had more time of possession, and they had less of everything else. And they
Mhm.
punted like 4 times. You can't punt against a team like the Oregon Ducks. They're always good. They're always bringing offense. Um, y'all are lucky you scored 14. So I mean, at least the first half there was a little balance to it,
Mhm.
but the second half Oregon just ran away with it.
Well,
And yes,
Oregon
Oregon
did.
State and is it Washington? Washington State, the two
Yeah.
states are the only teams left in the Pac-12. They got to figure out what they're doing. They're fielding offers from teams. I kind of wish one of them was good because I guess the conference championship, who's going to be in the conference championship game. They might could have had a
Right.
shot at the playoffs if
Mhm.
they're good enough. I don't think the Beavers will be. We'll have to see. We'll have to give Washington State a little more time. But I mean, it was just the first half was pretty balanced, and the second half was just
The second half was turn the TV. Find
Yep.
something else.
Yeah.
Well, and it was a late game, so people were getting tired, went to bed, woke up the next morning. Oh, nothing much different than what it was when you went to sleep.
Essentially, that's kind of what you do, right? Except Michelle watches all of it. She does not go to sleep.
No, because there's a game that came on after that. You just got to keep going until you fall asleep.
She
And
likes
then
them late games. I
there's
used to work with
still
a gentleman. His name's Pat Jameson, who's an Oregon alum, huge Ducks fan. He had me watching the Ducks all through the early 2000s into the 2000 teens. I just really knew them because they always had them sweet uniforms because they had that deal for the uniforms. And he actually got me watching them playing football, watching some of their quarterbacks when they moved up into the NFL and stuff. So I've always had sort of a sweet spot for Oregon. So if when Sonia and I have our rivalry week, she's on the Michigan side, I'm on the Ohio State side. So for this game, I was on the Duck side the whole way. And I was aggravated at halftime that they didn't have a bigger lead. And then the second half was like, all right,
Okay.
we're good.
Well, October 12th, your Ohio State Buckeyes will see these Oregon Ducks. And so that'll be a game that I'm looking forward to that I have circled on my calendar. And so
I do too, but I have a little sad face on my calendar because I don't know.
Well, those Oregon, look, the Ducks can score. I mean, they 24 points in their first game, then 37 the next game, and 49 this last game. So they're going to put up some points. Your defense better be ready.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Michigan they come to town November 2nd. And again, with how Michigan has been playing, it could get ugly real quick.
And my Buckeyes at least have put up some offense this year. So, yeah. We probably need to go another week. Maybe next week. We just need to talk about what's going on in Michigan.
We can. We totally can.
We need to give them a couple weeks. Like, it's a new everything. It's a new quarterback. It's one of the things that you see when you have a team that wins a national championship and a lot of those guys go into the draft and you're starting from scratch. Even though you got juniors and seniors on your team, they haven't seen any significant field time. And you've got a new head coach who didn't recruit any of these guys. They're going to need a few weeks to gel, but we got week 4 coming up. So after week 4, I think we'll have a better feel for who this Wolverine team is going to be this year. They're going to give me a game no matter what happens all season. They're going to give me a game in November. So,
well, I think the biggest part of that is that they had a new coach. And I think that in the recruiting season, when you're looking at the year before, yes, they won the championship, but everybody knew Harbaugh was leaving. And then there was speculation that there may be some penalties and things like that. So that deterred anybody that was coming. And you have a new coach. So, and they had a lot of people that leave. So when you put all those things together, they're trying to make it. But again, it's early. So you never know how they're going to look at the end of the season. All they got to do is go upset Ohio State. They're back in there.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Kristen asked us a question, specifically you, Kate. Are you a big Bo Nix guy?
I am. I like him. I like the way he played in college. I'm excited to see how he's going to do with some more time in the NFL. I have hopes for him. He's not on a horrible team, which, as we talked about a little bit yesterday, poor Bryce Young is on a horrible team. Caleb Williams is struggling with that Bears team. I think Bo Nix has a better cast of characters around him. He'll just need a little bit of time, but I like him a lot. I liked him in the combine, kept an eye out for him in the draft. So, we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, I agree. Oregon State was kind of not a snooze fest in the second half, but more so very toe-to-toe, very even, I think, in the beginning. But then Oregon State, like you said, failed to make adjustments, and Oregon just kind of did their thing and ran all over them. So that was good. But one of the things that I saw in that game was their running back, number 20, Mr. James. He was very good too. I think in that game, what did he have? Hang on, I'm checking it out. So he had in that game, hang on, I'm sorry, he had 86 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns.
Two
And,
touchdowns.
86 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 carries. Very good. Somebody to keep an eye on for sure. Week before that against Boise State, he had 102 yards, no touchdowns, but still somebody to watch. I mean, you want somebody who is going to be shifty and be able to move that ball down the field, who your quarterback can reliably just hand it off and keep it going. So I think he is one to keep an eye on. I liked his game. Somebody actually in the comment section in one of the things I was watching, was like, he kind of reminds me of a Lions number 20. And I was like, I mean, that's a bit of a reach. That's a bit of a stretch. But I could kind of see where you're not wrong with making that assumption. But is it a reach? Yes. Right now, yeah, probably. But I could see where you could say that. Anybody? Let's see. So I talked about that. So, Kate, who was somebody that you kept in around this week?
So I think we all kind of looked at running backs this week that had an impact. And for me, it was Austin Ginty. He's running back at Boise State. Boise lost by 3 points to Oregon in week 1. And Ashton had 25 carries for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns, had a 70-yard run. This past week, they won. He had 267 yards on 20 carries. His longest was a 77. He had 6 touchdowns. Now, I know you're Boise State, but let me tell you, they play some quality opponents. Like I said, they only lost by 3 to Oregon. We may be talking at the end of the year about that was the closest game Oregon played all year. But Ashton is he's got moves, he's got speed. He's like I said, he's averaging 10 yards a carry he's 5'9", 215. He's not, when I look at him, I think more wide receiver maybe, but he runs really well. He's got very nice feet, and he's got one of those second gears that we're going to be talking about when come draft time. If he stays healthy all year, we're going to be talking about that second gear that he can kick it into, and you can't catch him. You can't catch him. So, and clearly defenses can't stop him. He put 6 touchdowns this week.
Right.
I mean, after the third one, you'd think the defensive coordinator would be like, can I get 3 people on Ginty over here? No, doesn't matter.
No,
he's gone. He's already gone. Bye-bye. So
he's got a head start on next week.
Yeah. He's already got 3 touchdowns next week. They're going to walk into the game up 21-0. He's a player I really like.
Michelle, who'd you pick?
I have another running back for us. I'm going to go with, I am going to go with the Big 12 Player of the Week, RJ Harvey out of UCF. RJ Harvey has been balling. I mean, since last year, actually. He was a quarterback. Originally was a quarterback, went to Virginia, transferred from Virginia, went to UCF, became a running back, tore his ACL, but his last 2 seasons has been his breakout seasons. And last week he scored 100. He had 3 touchdowns, two running and 1 passing, 1 receiving, 180 yards. He's currently on like a 5 or 7 game streak of 100-yard games. I mean,
nice.
Small guy, great vision, speed, and physical. So you're talking about one that can carry the load for a team. He had 30 carries. He had 30 touches, basically. If you're talking about him carrying the ball, him receiving the ball, 200 yards, 209 yards. He's a workhorse. And he's a 5th year. He's a redshirt senior. He's in his 5th year. But if you look at the game, if you watch that game, UCF was down 21 points and had to come back to beat TCU in Dallas. And RJ was part of the reason why they made that 21-point comeback. I think he scored like 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion in that game for UCF. But he is definitely someone to watch. If you've seen any Big 12 games and you watched any UCF games, you're going to definitely know number 7, RJ Harvey, because he stays in that end zone. And he's a bruiser. He runs, but he can carry the load. And I just like to watch him run. And I've been watching him since last year. And so it kind of started just, I try to keep up with all the Florida teams and the Florida people, but, just watching him run, And seeing the things that he's done, he is really carrying the team, carrying the load for them. So great guy.
Yeah, he's built a lot like Genty. He's another 5'9" guy. He's a little lighter. He's 208, 210, somewhere in there.
Somewhere a
I
little
like
less.
I like his versatility. When you come out
Yeah.
as a running back, you want to get drafted into the NFL, you have to be able to receive. You have to be able to do 2-point conversions. He can do all of that. He can run. That speed that you talk about, he definitely has it. He's got that extra gear, but he's got really good hands. I find a lot of running backs can't catch.
Yeah.
He can catch. He is definitely, he can run and get out and then catch as well. So I think that is going to bode well for him getting drafted in one of the early rounds next year. If he keeps performing this way, if he can stay healthy, that's going to be the knock on him, is he had that injury, but another really good season like he had last year, and that injury will be old news.
And to think about, he had that ACL in 2021, but he's had his 2 breakout seasons in 2023. So, and just considering that they were playing in Dallas, I know a team that needs a running back, and so I'm hopefully, he may come out and.
Have you looked at the IR list this week? There's a lot of teams that need a lot.
I don't know about those teams, Kate. I just know about one team in Dallas. That's all I know.
I know. It's the only team you're worried about.
With another good question, do we see these standout players translating to the NFL? Yes, we do. Maybe not first round type, but definitely second, third round types of players. And looking back at Jordan James, same kind. Like, I think we're all talking about the same type of player. 5'10", 220, 210 pounds. So, that short kind of compact type player. And that typically translates well into the NFL. Like you said, guys that can get you those 2-point conversions and get you some space and stuff like that. So
guys that can catch the ball and run, they are the guys. Those are that's the trend now. And those are the guys that get more looks. I'm one of those people who believe the guys in the later rounds are usually better. So anyway.
That's true.
Listen, I have 3 grandsons. I've already told my oldest he wants to be a wide receiver. I said, no, you're 13. You want to be a corner. You want to initiate contact. You don't want to be getting contacted. And you don't want to go top 10. You want to go around 24 to 27. Like the late 20s is a sweet spot, because those are playoff-ready teams. I'm going to beat this dead horse. Ask Bryce Young how he feels going number 1. Them top 10 teams are not good. You don't want to go
that's why. See, because what people don't realize is in the NFL, the worst teams get the top pick, and that's not how it is for every sport, because they may have a lottery or something. But in the NFL, if you get the number 1 pick, you are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Or you were bad last year. You were bad the previous year.
So. I'm like, you want to target 20 to 20 in the 20s. Those are either playoff teams or they're on their way to the playoffs. Those are
some of your greatest players were either not drafted or drafted later rounds. Well, let's just talk about that little guy with the cute dimple right there, Tom Brady. I think he went like the 6th round or something.
Yep.
So.
Yes, he was number 199.
What school did he go to, Sonia?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Anyway.
Michigan, baby.
It's the fake UM.
Speaking of the other fake UM, the who, the U.
And how did they do this week?
They won. They played Ball State. I mean, I think they had like a 2-hour delay or the weather delay. But I watched the game. I figure we should beat Ball State. But in the past, those are not teams that Miami has always beaten. We paid somebody to beat us last year. So I'm just excited. I wanted to watch the game. I like to evaluate the players when they're playing a game like that. And I want to see if we are where we want to be, then we should dominate a team like this. And they did that. So I was happy about that. And Cam Ward still looks good. One drive I saw that he didn't look really good. And after that, I think, he goes through his progression. And then our running back, who I call Reposado, because I mess up his name and then I start thinking about a shot. So that's what I call him. But that seems to be his go-to player. And they're looking good. I'm not going to get too excited yet until we play someone that I think is, big competition. But right now I'm liking what I'm seeing from Miami. So.
Well, and apparently the voters did as well. In the AP Top 25, y'all moved up 2 spots. So style points matter. I try to explain this when people are talking about the NFL, right? And on Monday, there's all this reaction from fans about, we barely won or this, that, and the other. And I keep telling them in the NFL, style points do not matter. In college, they do. There are people looking at those teams and voting. And the way you handled Ball State, because you're supposed to, moved you up 2 spots. And other teams, Penn State won, but they only beat Bowling Green by a touchdown, dropped 2 spots. So it's like, even though you win, how you win matters in the NCAA and in that poll. That's why it's one of the reasons why I'm so glad that it's expanding to 12 teams, because it's so subjective. It's so what those AP voters and all the different, there's 4 or 5 different polls now that do the top 25. And it's so subjective to what matters to them that the style in which you win, you're encouraged to beat teams 70-0. And I hate that kind of stuff, but.
And that's more prevalent. I mean, when you look at the 2 polls right now, so then in the AP poll, Texas is number 1, but in the coaches poll, Georgia is still number 1. And that's based on what you just said. Georgia barely, but Georgia played a tough opponent. And they found a way to win. I still would have them number 1.
I agree.
I would still have them number 1 if I had a vote. And I would have Texas. I said this last week. I think I said that Texas was probably the best team next to Georgia. And that's still how I feel. I still feel like Georgia is still the number 1 team, even though they played a tough SEC game. They played a tough game, but they found a way to win. And that's what, when you've been on the top as they have the last few games, you're going to have some tough games because everybody wants to beat you. So, but it's how they win and if they find a way to win. So in my eyes, they're still the number 1 team until they lose.
Yeah, proven otherwise.
Yeah, the AP's got Oregon at number 9, whereas the coaches have them at 6. I mean, to me, those 2 teams were the biggest difference. A lot of them are 1 spot off. Like you said, Texas then Georgia, or Georgia then Texas. Tennessee is like 6-1 and 7 in the other. They're within 1, but the U is moved up to 8 in the AP and is still at 11 in the coaches poll. So it's interesting to see those 2 next to each other to see how they move. Where I tend to agree with the coaches poll more than the AP poll. And Kim Simon says the same thing.
Agrees.
I feel like those coaches are looking at every aspect of the game, whether, not just, did I put up 49 points against someone 7? Did my defense actually have to work to hold them to 7, or is their offense bad? What did my special teams do? The coaches take all of that, which is, again, why they have Georgia number 1. I think Georgia on paper is still the best football team.
Yeah. And what I was interested to see was whether South Carolina was going to get some votes into the poll. They actually played a great game against LSU. They received a few votes in the AP poll, and they received maybe some in the coaches poll. But I thought, I was interested to see if they would receive any votes based on their play over the last couple of weeks.
I think they need a couple more weeks.
Yep.
I think maybe if they keep playing like this and keep showing the coaches and the AP voters what they've got, I think we'll see, quite a few, votes for them. They may even crack the 25.
I think so too. I was wondering if the LSU was going, like how that game was going to play out for them, if that was going to change anything. But no, I tend to agree with the coaches, just like you, Kate, and you, Kim. I think that they are taking into consideration like the whole game plan and what that looks like. So, but I'm not surprised to see that the AP poll put Texas number 1 because Georgia probably struggled. That's my 2 cents anyways.
Well, sometimes
go ahead.
Yeah. Sometimes it just, it's almost as if they're waiting, they, as soon as they lose, they're ready to drop them down. And I think that happened to them last year where they lost.
Did we lose Michelle?
All points. So I didn't feel like they should have failed as far as they failed. So, but
Yeah, and again, I think we already said this. It's early in the season. I think there's still for Georgia, thoughts about last year and how their season ended, and that not living up to the expectations for last year, that is still maybe keeping some of the people with, you know what, they're number 2 for now. But as the season goes on, they're going to get farther away from last year and people's memories of last year, and they're going to really judge them on what they're doing this year. It's a difficult job. I'm glad I don't have a vote, because I would have a very difficult time. First of all, making sure I watched every single one of these teams play, and they have to, they're supposed to do that. I'd love to ask some of these voters if they actually see some of these teams playing, or if it's just, oh, these guys are always good, I'll just throw them up.
Yeah,
is there anybody out there, any AP voters? This is a safe space. Feel free, jump in the chat. Let us know. You can come up with a burner account. It's okay.
And I'm willing to take your spot because I watched it.
She does. Watches all of them.
Yeah. If you need somebody, Michelle has your back for sure. She'll tell you how to vote. So
I don't want to vote though. Yeah. Whew. Yeah.
I know.
That's when it gets to the end. When it gets to the end, after they played enough games, and then we can, and that's when I think you need the other poll, because when it gets to the end, now the coaches are, thinking about position and stuff, and their votes may or not coincide with what they really think. So that's why I think that's what I meant when I says I think it's good to have both polls. So,
I never thought about that, Michelle. There you are. But that makes sense. There are always ulterior motives. So hey, you never know. Georgia has a big test coming up this week. I think they play Alabama. I just took a peek, so I think that'll be a good one. Just to kind of see where they go. And so then you guys, we can vote on which games we should watch. I think that should be one of them that we can put in our poll, because every week we'll do a poll.
Yeah, I'd like to throw a vote in there for the NC State Clemson game. You got 2 ACC teams. Clemson's 1-1, NC State's 2-1. If Clemson wants to take a charge at things this year, they're going to have to handle their business, and they're going to have to beat NC State. And I don't know if they can beat them flat out, let alone by enough points. But I'm going to be very interested in that game on Saturday.
That'll be a good one to watch. Michelle, is there one that you're keeping an eye on?
What was the first game that we mentioned?
Georgia, Alabama.
Georgia, Alabama. Well,
yeah.
Is it USC and Michigan? Did we put that on the ballot?
We didn't. I mean, we can. We've already done a Michigan game, but we can. Yeah, we can do another one.
We can put them on there.
I'm going to go. Oh, I forgot. You guys don't want us to do Michigan, but I think we already know that's going to be a big game. So I'm going to go with UCLA LSU.
Ooh, that'll be a good one.
All right, put that on.
That'll be a very good one. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's on there.
I'll throw out. Number 6, Tennessee. Number 15, Oklahoma.
Tennessee and Oklahoma. Yep.
Okay, let's do that one. Tennessee, Oklahoma. Oh, Kristen, I have to ask Lisa how to get or what the stuff is for YouTube, so we can put up a poll live for you. So trust me, Kristen, I'm working on this for us. Okay. So
I thought for sure Michelle would want us to watch the U play South Florida.
It's another one of those games that the U should win, and I will be watching it. But
South Florida's 2-1. I don't know who they've played.
Yeah,
but I mean,
we have to dominate all teams in Florida. We played Florida and FAMU already. We got Florida State on the schedule, so we may as well beat South Florida. I don't know if they play UCF, but
Yeah, I mean, there's some games that you couldn't pay me to watch. Penn State, Kent State.
No, thank you.
Listen, I love me a MAC school, but it's not. It's going to be a lot like when the Buckeyes played the Akron Zips. It's not.
But I can tell you that if I look at the score and Kent State is winning, I will turn that TV so quick.
Agreed, but I don't know that they will ever have a lead in this game. Nothing against Kent State. It's just Penn State's ranked, and they're just really good. Ohio State has Marshall. I don't know how painful that game will be to watch. Marshall's not bad, and it's one of those. They're one of those schools that play really well when they face a ranked opponent. They do really well against them. Kansas State and BYU might actually be a good game. They're both 3-0 in the Big 12, but Kansas State is ranked and BYU isn't. So that maybe that's one for the poll. I don't want to have 20 games on the poll, but that might.
I mean,
be.
I think it's only 4, so we only do 4. Yeah, we only do 4 games. So, which 4 did we have? What 4 did we have?
Someone put it in the chat so that I can remember. So we're going to do.
Yes, there you go.
We're gonna do UGA, Alabama.
Yep.
We're going to do
UCLA, LSU.
UCLA, LSU. We're going to do
Tennessee, Oklahoma. Wasn't that one?
Yeah. Tennessee, Oklahoma.
And
so that's 1, 2, 3.
Was it North Carolina State and Clemson?
Yes.
Yes, North Carolina State, Clemson.
And Clemson. All right, guys. We got some good games.
Yep. We'll see what the voters think we should watch and talk about next week.
And just so you know, Hampton beat Norfolk State in the Battle of the Bay.
They did. I saw that. I thought about you.
They did. Got another big game coming up this weekend. Hampton goes up to Washington, D.C. for the Battle of the Real HU. Hampton versus Howard. Always a great game, always a great time. All my pirate friends that will be up there, have a great time, have fun. Rock the blue and white.
Is it really a battle for the real Okay, I'm just being messy now. Is it really a battle for the real HU? I just curious.
I mean, it's not really a battle. Hampton's won the past few games, so literally.
Well, we should talk about it next week if they don't.
We can talk about it next week. I am fine with that. But no, it's just like a thing because Hampton University, Howard University, which one's a real and bragging.
It's just a thing that Hampton does to bother with Howard. I think Howard's always been Howard University though, but I'm gonna stay out of it. It's not my business. I'm not in it.
It's not the U.
It's not the U. It's not FAMU. It's not the Rattlers.
The Rattlers will take on Troy University in Troy, Alabama this week. So, we're looking for an upset.
Oh, they're ranked higher?
Well, Troy moved up. They used to be in the same, they used to be, what is it, FCS? I still say 1AA. So FCS, they used to be in there some time ago, but I think they're a part of FBS now.
Okay. Well, there we go. Y'all, we've got some great games coming up. I can't wait. We're going to have another good weekend of college football. And so I'm excited to watch these. I'll get this poll up for you tomorrow and we'll vote through Friday. There's another poll going up for the other podcast. So please make sure you vote for that one too. So Michelle, Kate, thanks for a great show again. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that so that you can get notifications every time we go live. And we'll see y'all next week. All right.
I'm reaching out and I'm touching you, ladies. Have a good one.
You do the same. Kate, you're so silly. Bye, you guys.
Bye.